So we're going to be checking out this Tech Talk about how much debt does the average American have by, I guess, salary transparency. I think that's the account name. Let's see.
How much debt does the average American have?
Man, 50,000.
50,000. Ooh.
75,000.
75.
10K?
10K. Definitely not 10K.
Yeah, I think it might be a little higher. I think maybe like 22.
22. 50.
30,000.
30. 40.
80, 70.
80. 70.
90,000.
$90,460 is the average debt. Well, that is the debt that the average American has. Because you got to basically factor in how much debt actually exists and then calculate it by how many people, blah, blah, blah. And it's just crazy. Like, if you have never seen it before, if you were to go to the US national debt clock and see how much money is actually owed versus how much money this country actually makes, it is so disgustingly depressing.
Goodness. Wow, that's crazy.
90,460.
Oh, okay. Okay.
90,460.
Oh my god. That's appalling.
90,460.
Whoa, that's pretty great.
And this is why people need to focus on their finances a lot better because just think about that. Think about if that is what you're having to deal with, regardless of like how much money you're making. Like that is such a depressing number to have to face, right? Let's see some of these comments. Okay, so I guess they're called salary transparency street, I guess. So debt changes with age, education level, and family type, to name a few metrics. We know median is important because higher debt levels will skew metrics. Blah, blah, blah. If that includes mortgage, that's actually not bad. The thing is, you're also not factoring in how much money people are going to be paying towards how much the country itself also makes. Oh, like is owed, I should say. Let's see. Wow, that is over 1.5 times the average American's income. Hoping that include mortgage. If not, that's insane. I thought I was high at $26,000. Hey, you should try to work on that and get that away. Bum, bum, bum. That's not bad considering it includes mortgage. Let's see. Okay, so this includes all types of consumer debt products from credit cards to personal loans, mortgages, and student debt. Now, obviously, it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world because it includes mortgages, right? But the problem is there are people with student debt more than what someone's average mortgage would actually be, right? There's people with student debt higher than a mortgage that they could even afford. There's people with student debt that basically have a mortgage in the form of a student debt in terms of like amount. Like there's people with like $200,000 in student debt are working maybe 40,000 or like earning maybe about $40,000 a year gross and are basically not really living much of a life because all of your money is pretty much going to paying off your debt. And again, that's not even including if you have credit cards, if you're paying on credit cards, that's not factoring in maybe the different types of consumer debt products, which a lot of people are dealing with now. Like, it's a sad situation. Like, this is why it is extremely important to pay off your debt so that the only thing that you necessarily might have to deal with would be a mortgage. And worst case scenario comes around, you could potentially file for bankruptcy to get rid of that because you can't do that with student debt. Even credit cards, you could get rid of that through bankruptcy. Definitely not recommended. But the thing is, even with a mortgage, you could technically like refinance it to make the payment a little bit easier on you so that you could have a better chance at paying it off. So we definitely always try to push people to pay off their debt But the reality is that there's people that are dealing with so many different types of debt that they just simply don't even know how to deal with it, right? So if you are dealing with debt, what you really need to do is list all of your debt. Like literally list all of your debt amounts from highest to lowest and basically attack the lowest debt amount and then go up. Now, technically, that is a little bit more costly to do it that way, but it's easier on you to stick with it because you're actually making progress. Whereas the other way, you might go months without ever actually paying off a debt, so you might end up basically feeling really depressed and not actually stick with it. So, something to think about.